Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Diri Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhavati Nashtaki. So, coming back to our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 2, Ajamil delivered by the Vishnu Dutas. Text number 16 onwards. So now Vishnu Dutas are speaking. Gurunam cha laghunam cha guruni cha laghuni cha prayaschittani papanam gyatoktani maharshibhi. Authorities who are learned scholars and sages have carefully ascertained that one should atone for the heaviest sins by undergoing a heavy process of atonement, and one should atone for lighter sins by undergoing lighter atonement. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, however, vanquishes all the effects of sinful activities, regardless of whether heavy or light. So, this chanting is so powerful. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes an incident that took place when Samba was rescued from the punishment of the Kauravas. Samba fell. Samba was son of Krishna. Samba fell in love with the daughter of Duryodhana. And since according to Kshatriya custom, one is not offered a Kshatriya's daughter unless he displays a chivalrous valor, Samba abducted her. Consequently, Samba was arrested by the Kauravas. Later, when Lord Balram came to rescue him, there was an argument about Samba's release. Since the argument was not settled, Balram showed his power in such a way that all of Hastinapur trembled and would have been vanquished as if by a great earthquake. Then the matter was settled and Samba married Duryodhana's daughter. The purport is that one should take shelter of Krishna Balaram, the supreme personality of Godhead, whose protective power is so great that it cannot be equaled in the material world. However powerful the reactions of one's sins, they will immediately be vanquished if one chants the name of Hari, Krishna, Balaram, or Narayan. So this incident that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quoted, so we know a little bit. So Samba, son of Krishna, I'm forgetting which queen. I think it was, I'm supposed to say Jamvati's son, no? Yeah. Right? That's what I was thinking. So Jamvati's son, and this son was very dear to his mother. So he was always with his mother. Sir Amba. Amba means mother. So he was always with his mother. That's why his name is Samba. So anyway, so he got attracted to Duryodhana's daughter. So now you know this whole thing. This was obviously much before the Battle of Mahabharata. So they all were related. Duryodhana was related to Krishna. His daughter was married to Krishna's son. So they were somebodies. So what happened? He came to kidnap Duryodhana's daughter, and when he was taking her away, so all these warriors, Duryodhana, Karan, Bhishma, they all went after him and they arrested him. So now in Dwarka, Krishna Balram, they hadn't seen Samba for a long time. And Narad Muni came with the news. Narad Muni asked them, do you know where is Samba, by the way? They were like, no, we haven't heard of him, but he must be okay. No, he's not okay. He's in Hastinapur. He's been captured. And Narad Muni told in detail what happened. And now Balramji and everybody got angry. How come they all got together and attacked Samba when he was alone? They should have fought with him one on one. Not all of them should have attacked him. So Balramji came with the Yadu army to Hastinapur, and first he sent either Akrura or Uddhav. I think Akrura. He sent Akrura as a messenger to tell the Kauravas that return Samba. But somehow, although now Duryodhan was a student of Balramji, but he was very puffed up. And all these warriors, they sent a message to Balramji that you all are ruling over Dwarka because we are letting you rule. You have no power in front of us and this and that. So don't you tell us what to do. And we're not going to release Samba. And then Balramji, when he heard this message, and he got really angry, really angry. And he took his plow and he pushed it into the ground. And with that, he started dragging Hastinapur towards Yamuna. And he was like, I'm going to drown this Hastinapur in Yamuna. And when he was dragging and this whole Hastinapur, can you believe that? But obviously for Balramji, it was impossible. So he was dragging, so inside Hastinapur, it was like earth was shaking and the buildings were falling down, palaces were shaking, and all that. It's a great earthquake is happening. And then they understood it's Balramji and Bhishma and Duryodhan, Karna, everybody, they came running outside, fell at the lotus feet of Balramji and begged for forgiveness. And then they just prayed to him, praised him, and they glorified him, begged for forgiveness. We made a mistake. We didn't understand your power. And here is Samba, and here is the daughter of Duryodhan. And they just got them married and sent their daughter properly with so much of dowry and all that. So this is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he describes that incident. So no matter how much sin one has committed, if he takes shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, Balaram, or the holy name of Krishna, Balaram, Hari Narayana, that is the perfect atonement. But at the same time, one should not commit sins on the strength of chanting of the holy names. That will be an offense. Sin is forgivable. Offense is not. And offense means one has to really work hard for that offense. Tastanya ghani tuyante tapodana vritadibhi na dharmajam tad hridayam tad pishangri sevaya. Although one may neutralize the reactions of sinful life through austerity, charity, vows, and other such methods, these pious activities cannot uproot the material desires in one's heart. However, if one serves the lotus feet of the personality of God and is immediately freed from all such contaminations, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhakti Paresha Anubhava Virakti Ranyatra Cha. Devotional service is so powerful that one who performs devotional service is immediately freed from all sinful desires. All desires within this material world are sinful because material desire means sense gratification, which always involves action that is more or less sinful. Pure bhakti, however, is anya vilashita shunya. In other words, it is free from material desires, which result from karma and jnana. One who is situated in devotional service no longer has material desires, and therefore he is beyond sinful life. Material desires should be completely stopped. Otherwise, although one's austerities, penances and charity may free one from sin for the time being. One's desires will reappear because his heart is impure. Thus he will act sinfully and suffer. So the desires are not gone by any of those atonement processes like austerity, charity, vows, and other such methods. But bhakti, pure bhakti, it just removes all the material desires from the heart, all of them. Even the kuta and bija, those who are deep within the heart, in the seed form, even they are burnt. It is said they are burned like the cumin seeds. If we roast the cumin seeds, then there's no way they can germinate again. So this is how the seeds of material desires are roasted by the heat or power of bhakti. Ajnanathava jnanaduttam shlok nam yat sankirtitam agham punso dahe dedho yatha nalaha. As fire burns dry grass to ashes, so the holy name of the Lord, whether chanted knowingly or unknowingly, burns to ashes without fail all the reactions of one's sinful activities. Fire will act regardless of whether handled by an innocent child or by someone well aware of its power. For example, if a field of straw or dry grass is set afire, either by an elderly man who knows the power of fire or by a child who does not, the grass will be burnt to ashes. Similarly, one may or may not know the power of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, but if one chants the holy name, he will become free from all sinful reactions. So it is bound to happen. How we chant, how we don't chant, hardly matters. Like previously we studied, even if somebody chanting jokingly or satirically, whichever way. Like Ajamil did not chant the name of Narayan properly. He was calling his son, but still all his sinful reactions were wiped out. Yathagadam viryatam tamam upayuktam yadrichaya ajanato api atma gunam kuryan mantro api udahrita. If a person unaware of the effective potency of a certain medicine takes that medicine or is forced to take it, will act even without his knowledge because its potency does not depend on the patient's understanding. Similarly, even though one does not know the value of chanting the holy name of the Lord, if one chants knowingly or unknowingly, the chanting will be very effective. So just like this this vaccine, we don't know what is in it and how powerful it is. We just have some faith in the documents or words of the doctors. So whether we know everything about it or not, it will certainly have its effect. I hope no side effects, though, but it will have its effect. In the Western countries where the Hare Krishna movement is spreading, learned scholars and other thoughtful men are realizing its effectiveness. For example, Dr. J. Stilson Judah, a learned scholar, has been very much attracted to this movement because he has actually seen that it is turning hippies addicted to drugs into pure Vaishnavas who voluntarily become servants of Krishna and humanity. Even a few years ago, such hippies did not know the Hare Krishna mantra, but now they are chanting it and becoming pure Vaishnavas. Thus, they are becoming free from all sinful activities, such as illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. This is practical proof of the effectiveness of the Hare Krishna movement, which is supported in this verse. One may or may not know the value of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, But if one somehow or other chants it, he will immediately be purified, just as one who takes a potent medicine will feel its effects regardless of whether he takes it knowingly or unknowingly. So whether one knows the effect of it or not, as soon as he chants it, he will get benefited. And this is what devotees do. This is like here in the Western countries, in India also. I won't say in India now. Whenever we take out Sankirtan, people who hear this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, they sometimes they just come along, start dancing and chanting. They just love it. Ultimately, it's the soul responding to Krishna's holy name. Body may be different, but it's a relationship between the soul and Krishna. And we have seen many times people who have no connection with Hare Krishna movement, but when they hear this chanting, they just come along. They start dancing. They start chanting along. They start clapping, and this is how they make progress. then they get lots and lots of Agyat Sukriti by chanting Hare Krishna mantra this way. So this is the mercy of the devotees, and this is the Sankirtan Yajna that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had started, and that's why anybody who participates in this Sankirtan movement, he becomes very, very dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and obviously Nityananda Prabhu. So they bestow their full mercy on their devotees. Text 20. Shri Shukuvacha ta evam suvinirniya karmam bhagavatam dripa tam yamya pashanir uchya vipram mrityor amumuchan. Shri Shukdev Goswami continued, my dear king, having thus perfectly judged the principles of devotional service with reasoning and arguments, the order carriers of Lord Vishnu released the Brahman Ajamil from the bondage of the Yamdutas and saved him from imminent death. So he wasn't dead yet. His soul was not removed from his heart. He was about to be. But Vishnu Dutas, they intervened and they released the Brahman Ajamil from the bondage of Yamdutas. Iti prati udita yamya duta yatva yamantikam yamragya yatha sarvam acha chakshur arindam. My dear Maharaj Parikshit, O subduer of all enemies, after the servants of Yamraj had been answered by the order carriers of Lord Vishnu, they went to Yamraj and explained to him everything that had happened. Now Yamdutas could not do anything. All the ropes were cut and they had to let go of Ajamil. So what did they do? They went back to Yamraj. And basically next chapter is a discussion between Yamaraj and Yamadutas. In this verse, the word prati utita is very significant. The servants of Yamaraj are so powerful that they can never be hindered by anywhere. But this time they were baffled and disappointed in their attempt to take away man they considered sinful. Therefore, they immediately returned to Yamaraj and described to him everything that had happened. Dvija pashad vinirmukto gatabhi prakritim gataha pavande shirasa Vishnu kim karan darshanotsaha. Having been released from the nooses of Yamaraj's servants, the Brahmana Jamil, now free from fear, came to his senses and immediately offered obeisances to the Vishnu Dutas by bowing down his head at their lotus feet. He was extremely pleased by the presents, for he had seen them save his life from the hands of the servants of Yamaraj. So we can only imagine the position of Ajamil. Now he was saved, so he was very, very thankful, grateful, and he paid obeisances to the Vishnu Dutas. Purport. Vaishnavas are also Vishnu Dutas because they carry out the orders of Krishna. Lord Krishna is very eager for all the conditioned souls rotting in this material world to surrender to him and be saved from material pangs in this life and punishment in hellish conditions after death. A Vaishnava therefore tries to bring conditioned souls to their senses. Those who are fortunate like Ajamil are saved by the Vishnu Dutas of Vaishnavas, and thus they return back home, back to Godhead. So Vaishnavas are also Vishnu Dutas because they're carrying the orders of Krishna. So, of course, we are not as powerful as those Vishnu Dutas, and that we can stand in front of Yam Dutas and discuss and cut off their noses. But in principle, it is the same. It just we have to become more and more powerful by becoming more and more surrendered. So Vaishnava tries to bring conditioned souls to their senses. And this is what Vishnu Dutas did for Ajamil. Tam vivukshum abhipretya mahapurusha kinkara sahasa pashya tastasya tatrantar dadhireyanagha. O sinless Maharaj Parikshit, the order carriers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Vishnu Dutas, saw that Ajamil was attempting to say something, and thus they suddenly disappeared from his presence. The Shastras say, for persons who are papisht, very sinful and durachar, misbehaved, or very unclean in their habits, who are against the existence of God, who disrespect Vaishnavas and Brahmins, and who eat anything and everything, untimely death is sure. It is said that in Kali Yuga, one has a maximum lifetime of 100 years. But as people become degraded, the duration of their lives decreases. Because Ajamil was now free from all sinful reactions, his lifetime was extended, even though he has to have died immediately. When the Vishnu Dutas saw Ajamil trying to say something to them, they disappeared to give him a chance to glorify the Supreme Lord. Since all his sinful reactions had been vanquished, he was now prepared to glorify the Lord. Indeed, one cannot glorify the Lord unless one is completely free from all sinful reactivities. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna, persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. The Vishnu Dutas made Ajamil aware of devotion service so that he might immediately become fit to return home back to Godhead. To increase his eagerness to glorify the Lord, they disappear so that he would feel separation in their absence. In the mode of separation, glorification of the Lord is very intense. So see, Vishnu Dutas, they disappeared. Like Prabhupada explained, because they wanted to make him glorify the Lord in the separation. And of course, Vishnu Dutas themselves, they didn't want to be glorified. They wanted Ajamil to glorify the Lord, not them. And now his sinful reactions were completely gone. He had darshan of Vishnu Dutas. Now definitely he's going to glorify and he's going to perform devotion service. So because of his sinful activities, his life was reduced, but because of sinful reactions were gone, because of devotion service, his life was extended. It was given an extension, actually. So anything can happen. It's not that everybody will have the same experience as Ajamil, but this is just an example that anything can happen by devotion service. Because a devotee, whether he's a neophyte or whether he's a Uttamadhikari, he doesn't come under the jurisdiction of Yamraj anymore. He comes under the jurisdiction of Krishna. And then when Krishna decides about somebody, then definitely it's up to him, whatever he wants to do. Ajamilo apiyatha karne duta namyam krishnayo dharmam bhagavatam shuddham travedyam cha gunashrayam bhaktiman bhagavati ashu mahatmya shravanadhare anuttapo mahanasi smarato ashubham atmana. After hearing the discourses between the Yamdutas and the Vishnudutas, Ajamil could understand the religious principles that act under the three modes of material nature. These principles are mentioned in the three Vedas. He could also understand the transcendental religious principles which are above the three modes of material nature and which concern the relationship between the living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Furthermore, Ajamil heard glorification of the name, fame, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He thus became a perfectly pure devotee. He could then remember his past sinful activities, which he greatly regretted having performed. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, the Vedas mainly deal with the subject of the three modes of material nature. Rise above these three modes, O Arjuna, be transcendental to all of them, be free from all dualities, and free from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. The Vedic principles certainly prescribe a gradual process for rising to the spiritual platform. But if one remains attached to the Vedic principles, there is no chance of his being elevated to spiritual life. Krishna therefore advised Arjuna to perform devotional service, which is a process of transcendental religion. The transcendental position of devotional service is also confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Savai punsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje. Bhakti or devotional service is paro dharma, transcendental dharma. It's not material dharma. People generally think that religion should be pursued for material profit. So dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. But that's not what Krishna wants us to do. This may be suitable for persons interested in material life, but one who is interested in spiritual life should be attached to parodharma, the religious principles by which one becomes a devotee of the Supreme Lord. The Bhagavad religion teaches that the Lord and the living entity are eternally related, and that the duty of the living entity is to surrender to the Lord. When one is situated on the platform of devotional service, one is freed from the impediments and completely satisfied. Ahatuki, apratihata. Having been elevated to that platform, Ajamil began to lament for his past materialistic activities and glorify the name, fame, form, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is also said that bhai bin preet na hui, right? Something like that. So sometimes we need that shock treatment, because without that we don't understand what is the goal of life and how to put the real stress on that. We keep on going on with our regular mundane life, thinking this is the perfect way of living and this and that. But then Krishna somehow or other, he has to give us a shock treatment to bring us to our proper senses so that we can perform devotional service properly. Puts more stress on it. Because once we take up devotional service, Krishna is not going to leave us. He wants us back to the spiritual world. So sometimes some shocks are important. And this is what happened with Ajamil. Of course, obviously, we don't want that kind of shock. We don't want to have darshan of the Yamdutas. So we should just learn from this story that before or until we want to go through that kind of experience, we just take this process seriously. Okay, I guess we can stop here. See anybody has questions or comments? Okay, so we can stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna, Jai
Hare
Shri
Krishna, Jai
Hare
Srila